Hi everyone and welcome along. Christmas is fast approaching and that means we're starting the Advent calendar on the 1st of December. So if you're going to paint along with me, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And on Thursday the 30th of November we've got a really handy Advent calendar prep video which make sure you watch and then you'll be all set for Friday. I'm so excited. But for now we are going to paint a wonderful watercolour Christmas tree. So grab your paints and let's get started. So it struck me that we've painted a lot of simplified Christmas trees, but I've never really painted a really lovely sort of proper Christmas tree. So that's what we're going to do today. So we've got an A5 bit of paper, roughly 6 by 8 inches, and I've just drawn a vertical line down the middle, and I'm just going to sort of roughly mark out the size just so we've got a vague sense of the parameters of the Christmas tree. So that's pretty much all we need those for. And what we're going to do is we're going to paint in sort of slightly sort of structured tiers of the Christmas tree to begin with. So I'm going to first create a sort of a lighter, paler Christmas tree colour. I'm going to use a bit of green gold and a little bit of cobalt turquoise just to get a nice colour there. And a tiny bit of Payne's grey, not too much, but just to sort of keep it a little bit cooler, a bit piney. And I've got my size 2 brush here, and I'm going to start at the top. Oh, now I don't know if you can see, but there's the tiniest little bristle just sticking out from there, and every now and then I get questions about what to do about those bristles if you just can't get them pressed back in. Well, if there's nothing else to be done, what you can do is get just some little detail scissors, capture the hair and trim it off. There it is. Trim it off near the base as you possibly can, and that will prolong the life of your brush. It's sort of not something that you can do every single time because you'll end up with no bristles left, but it's a pretty good idea from time to time. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top with the sort of top layer of Christmas tree branch, and you'll see already that I am kind of going a bit sort of beyond the perimeters there, but what you can see is it's just more as a really helpful guide. I'm going to take a bit of this slightly darker colour I've got here. I'll just move that in so you can see. And just underneath it here, I'm just going to just do a little bit of shadow there. Now what I'm going to do with this lighter colour now is I am going to paint in sort of the levels of the Christmas tree. So you know we get different types of Christmas trees. Some are big and bushy, some have more sort of established tiers, I suppose. Well, that's what kind of tree we're doing today. So just with my size 2 brush, I'm going to paint in sort of rough tiers. You can see they're not sort of completely even or anything, they're not sort of perfectly symmetrical, but this is just a nice sort of structured way of establishing the different levels. And I'm going to continue down, but what's going to happen is as we go down, it's going to be starting to sort of even out a little bit, and it's not just all going to be curling up, it's going to be curling down a little bit more. And I'm using my size 2 brush and it's working really nicely. I'm sort of making these slightly sort of soft, rounded, shaped edges. But yeah, painting in these tiers of lighter colour, and as we start to go down, so do the angle of the branches here. So I'm working my way down the tree, and now I'm getting to the point where it's really starting to angle sort of downwards. So I'm working more with sort of a branch like that, and then just adding in some nice broad little boughs and branches. I think I'll do one last level. Just get a bit more of that colour mixed up. So we're just sort of establishing the base of the tree there. So as you can see, it's not about being completely symmetrical, but just giving a balanced shape to the tree, and to establish those quite clear tiers. So now we're going to go back to the top, and we're going to paint in a much deeper, darker green. I mean, if you can call that a green. So that was sap green with Payne's grey. We'll just, I feel that's quite dark, so what I'm going to do is I'm adding a bit of water in there, and then what I can do is take a bit of sap green here and then scoop up some of that and introduce it in with a bit more of control. So that's a great way of mixing if you've gone a bit too far with your colour, but it's quite a useful colour as well, then you can just sort of scoop up a little bit elsewhere and place it in. I also think Prussian blue is going to be quite a useful colour here, because it's got a slightly greeny blue feel to it. If I mix in a bit there, that's a nice colour as well. So we've got some nice darker, deeper colours, and I'm going to take my 2/10 brush, and I'm going to start painting in a sort of another layer, I suppose, of branches. I'm going to start in here in this one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of be painting in the gaps for starters. And what's quite cool with that is you can almost sort of change some of the shapes if you want, like that a little bit. But the idea is that the darker section doesn't come out quite as far as the sort of branches in before, but we're still going to sort of have that texture of maybe some branches creeping out here and there. And whilst I'm there, I'll just sort of drop in a little bit of the Payne's grey, just to get a little bit more interest in there. So let's try another one. So painting in the gaps, creating little lumpy textured shapes as well. We'll pop a few like just coming up over the top there. There we go. we're just going to work our way down. So I'm working my way down, just getting to the bottom here, filling in these sort of under layers. And at the moment it looks very sort of linear. We've got one layer of light, one layer of dark. I'm also just filling in some of the gaps there as well. And what we're going to do next is we're going to just find ways to bring it all together a little bit more. So this bottom layer here is sort of less of a whole layer in itself and just more of an evening out layer, which is again why the little pencil guide we put in beforehand is quite helpful. Right, so what I'm going to do now is, I didn't really use this colour here, the Prussian blue with the sap green, so I'm going to mix up some more of that because I think it's going to be a really useful sort of mid colour for us, because what we're going to do now is we're going to just go in a sort of slightly, sort of little bit of detail manner with this third colour, and I think I'll use my 4/10 brush, see how that goes. It might be a bit small, but we can always go a size up. And so I start from the top again, and I'm going to use this colour to first off just sort of add some low lights and a little bit of texture there, but then also just a few sort of, yeah, it's low lights really, adding these extra colours in that just makes it a little more integrated into the darker layers there, because we're adding the darker colour. So it's usually a sort of underside that I'm painting with. And it just allows for, yeah, a bit more roundness, a bit more shape, and slightly less starkly defined tiers of colour. By the time you're hitting the sort of lower levels, you want to think more about the sort of the curved boughs of the branches, and then about how the little branches sort of come off those. So you start to sort of change your sort of direction of painting, because then we are going to add one more layer of darker detail, which is going to just bring everything together. Because of course watercolour is a lot about subtle layers, building up the layers. So that's looking lovely, and what I want to do now is just to add some Payne's grey into that there. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cold today, so I'm a little bit short of breath. Like, painting a Christmas tree is that exhausting. And I think I will just add in a little bit of the sap green just to make sure it's lurking in there. And one more time from the top, I'm going to use it just much more subtly, especially around the top, but it's to now just stretch out the colour of the dark colour that bit further, and you know, also maybe like add in a few extra, yeah, we never put in an extra one up here at all, did we? So that's the other thing, you can always add in an extra branch or two. So yeah, following my usual one rule, that as you progress a painting, the colour gets more dark and concentrated and the brush gets smaller. So just enjoy the process of building up this colour, but try to sort of keep an eye on the piece as a whole, and if you feel like it's just all getting a bit heavy and it's not really looking how you want it to anymore, that's probably a good time to stop, because of course a Christmas tree is the kind of thing you could just keep on chipping away at, and I am an absolute culprit for just carrying on painting, finding more detail here, there and everywhere. I just love it. But one last thing we are going to be doing, which I'm very excited about, is we're going to add a few little metallic stars. Why not? So we'll just get this finished and then a few stars to finish off our Christmas tree. I've rubbed out the pencil and I think that looks really great. And you could just leave it like that. Looks really nice, nice Christmas card design. But there's just no excuse at Christmas to not consider just a little bit extra sparkle. So I've got my metallic watercolours out and I've got 2 gold tones, nice and thick, and I am going to paint some metallic baubles, just sort of dots of varying sizes. And I think this will really finish it off perfectly, and we'll have to do a star on top as well. These metallic watercolours are my Fine Tech palette. They are widely available in lots of different colours, but as I'm becoming more and more aware, lots of very clever people are making watercolours, metallic ones, handmade ones. It's a nice Christmas gift idea actually, if you've got a watercolour enthusiast in your life, to maybe look at finding some rather nice handmade watercolour paints from a small individual company. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of people, but I know Etsy is a really fantastic place to look for that kind of thing. So we're just going to paint in more dots, and as they dry they will just start to really glisten and shine. This would be such a nice Christmas card design, I think. So while that's drying, let's look at the star. So at the top, if you want to do a little line and then almost like a little stick man, and then just one across like that, that's a helpful guide. And then just use each one of those arms or legs of the stick man to come in from, because not everyone likes sort of drawing the star in the continual line drawing, so this can be just as good. I love this Christmas tree painting, and in fact it's inspired me that maybe I'll turn it into a Christmas card to send out to my friends and family, because I haven't really thought about that yet. And a little bit of the darker gold just to drop in there. And there we have a really lovely Christmas tree with some lovely metallic gold baubles on it. Thanks so much for watching that one. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you're looking for more Christmas content, we've got a Christmas playlist on our channel with everything festive in there, so head over there and check it out. I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons for their support, because that support enables us to keep creating videos like these that everyone can enjoy. And if you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and comment below to let me know how you got on with that one. And of course, if you never want want to miss another video, hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell, and we'll see you again next time. Bye!